Hello everyone and welcome to Andrew's Quest Andrew's Quest but Money Mondays. Today I'm going to be talking about compounding interest. Compounding on the fact that I talked about interest last week, and it is either when you're borrowing, it is an amount that you're going to have to pay on top of what you're borrowed, or if you're saving and it's an amount that you're going to get paid on top of what you've saved. Usually it's expressed then as a percent over the course of a year. What compounding is in terms of saving, it is when you've saved an amount of money and you gain the interest, and then whatever that amount of interest that you've gained, you put it back on top of the amount you had saved. So the amount you had initially is called the principal. So compounding is adding to that principal by putting the interest you've earned on that principal. Now that combined amount, compounded, is earning interest together. When you owe money, whatever is remaining on what you owe, the amount of the interest adds on to what is remaining of what you owe. So you pay down a debt a little bit or an amount, whatever's remaining, the principal amount, the interest gets charged and compounds onto the amount that remains. Meaning, the longer you take to pay off a debt, and the less you pay down the principal amount, the more you're going to pay in interest in the long run. So, something to note is that the interest is very powerful, compound interest, so much so that I'm going to read a quote by Albert Einstein. He said this himself: "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." So, I'm going to get into that a little bit more of why it's so powerful. So with that, I'm going to start with some visual examples because it gets a little complicated as I progress. So first of all, to calculate how much interest you earn is a little formula you don't really need to know, and just so you understand it better. It's P times R equals I. P is your principal, meaning the amount you put. R is the rate of the interest rate, and I is the actual interest dollar amount that you'll have earned. This is a savings example. So, if you put in $1,000 times 10%, and in 1 year you'll have earned $100. So now you do this. This is where the compound kicks in, right? You add the $100 back to the $1,000 that you originally had. You now have $1,100 in year 2. At 10% again, you'll have now earned $110. So the first year you earned $100 and you kept it and you put it in there, that's $1,100. The second year, that $1,100 gained 10%, earned 10%, however you want to look at it, and you earn now $110. See, you earned $10 more this year than last year. So you take that $110. You put it back in. That's compounding. See how it keeps going back in like that? That's compounding. So now you have, like, I can't even see, 1,210 or something. I don't even know what I wrote there. But yeah, you have a $1,210. Again, if it earned 10% in the year, now it would have earned $121. So $100 year 1, $110 year 2, $121 year 3, and they keep getting added back into the principal amount, right? So, by the end of the third year, or the beginning of the fourth year, however you want to look at it, you now have $1,331. You earn $331 from $1,000 just sitting in an account earning 10% per year. Now, is there a guaranteed account where you can earn 10% a year? Not likely. I'm not, again, don't take this as an inspiration to try to find a way to earn 10%. And you'll see why, because things are not guaranteed. Anything that is guaranteed is usually lower. There are risks involved with when you start increasing the amount you could earn, and you should understand that before you go to a financial advisor saying you want to earn 10%. You don't go to look for a percentage amount when you want to earn a savings or an investment. You think about your goals and how long you have, etc. That's how you make a plan. Now, I said the eighth wonder of the world, and I will explain why it's the eighth wonder of the world. Because all you saw was 3 years, and the numbers weren't very impressive. So if you take that same $1,000, the third year it's what, $331. It earned $331 in 3 years, and you never contributed anything else. All you put so far was that $1,000 in the first year. So now the eighth wonder kicks in when this happens. So 1,000 at 10% for 10 years grows to 5,000. Sorry, I can't see. It's backwards for me. Grows to $2,593.74. You've earned $1,903.74 at that point. That's not that impressive still. For 10 years, it's like, because we're dealing in smaller numbers too. Think about that. But it's still, consider the fact that you put only $1,000 1 year, you never looked at it ever again, and in 10 years, it grew 1.5 times. So you earned $1,500 for doing nothing because your money was compounding on itself. Now, for fun, I did the research or the calculation for 30 years. 30 years now. I'm not going to read the whole dollars, but rounding is $17,500. So that $1,000 that you put in right now is 2016. In 2046, at 10% per year for 30 years, your money will now be worth $17,500. You'll have earned $16,500 for putting $1,000 aside, not looking at it ever again, at 10% per year, and then it'll be worth that much. Okay. Now, what about 30? Okay, so from year 10 to year 1 to year 30, you went from 1,000 to 17,500. So logically speaking, if you don't understand how the compounding works yet, you would probably be thinking, okay, so year 60 it'll be worth $34,000 because that's twice as many years. Like if it earned this much in 30 years, it should earn that much. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because year 60, get ready for it, that same $1,000 is almost $305,000 in 60 years, 10% per year. It earned $303,100, $303,481.64. That's only from a $1,000 investment that never got looked at ever again. These kind of things can be achieved, but you need to understand the risks associated with them. 10% is pretty high at this time. In 2016, 10% is very high actually, after you think about fees and all this other stuff. That being said, that was only an investment that you put $1,000 one time, never looked at it again for 60 years. Think about if you did a plan where you're saving regularly in something maybe you're earning a little less, like 8, 7, 6, depending on what you're comfortable with. If you put like $1,000 a year or a month or something, you'll outperform that in half the time. Just depending on the the market and all this other stuff. But generally speaking, that's the power of compounding. It was what I'm saying. So I just talked about $1,000. You put it away once, and then it grew, and no other contribution was ever made out of your own pocket. If you do start a savings plan, then that number will grow significantly, because not only are you compounding on the initial amount, every single time you contribute, that's a new series of compounding effects. I'm getting a little too much now, so I'm just gonna tone it down and leave it at that. That's what compounding is. So think on the flip side, if you're borrowing money, that's compounding, and you're not paying back the principal amount. That's where it becomes your enemy. So make compounding your friend and start saving. Start looking into ways that you can save. Depending on what your goals are, you gotta really talk to a professional one-on-one to see where you're at and what you're capable of and what your risk tolerance is. But no matter what, save your money regularly, every month, every week, every year, something. Especially like younger people. The difference between starting at the age of 20 versus 30 is massive. It could be either, if you're saving a larger amount from your 20s, you'll be a millionaire. You'll be able to retire like in your 50s, or you at the very least you'll be able to save less. You'll be able to save less if you start in your 20s, like putting away less per month, than if you got to play catch up now when you're 30, 35. Every year, every 5 years is a massive gap in how much you have to put aside for retirement if you don't have your retirement taken care of. Me personally, retirement or not, I would like to know that I have a fund growing somewhere that in so many years I'll have this nice chunk of money put aside. So that's what compounding is. Think about it. If I didn't explain it well, please comment and I will somehow answer questions that may have, like if I made things too confusing. But that's the gist. Start saving your money. That's the real lesson. And do your research. And that's all. Let's keep growing together like the compounding effect. And take care.